Hello, I'm here in my car barn, which is Auto Atlantica headquarters, and I don't spend that much time in here on video. I'm typically out and about, especially over the summer months, but periodically I like to do an update on what's going on with my collection. Any additions, as rare as that is, any disposals, that's even rarer, and anything that's going on with the cars in terms of repairs or needed repairs, that kind of thing, which is far more common. I'm Darren and this is Auto Atlantica. So I'm going to start with the two cars that are off site right now. So let's start with the 1985 Jaguar XJ Sovereign, the Series 3. I did post a video quite some time ago now with regards to the problem that it was having turning over, as if it would turn over at all. When I could get it running, the engine was racing and then slowing down and racing all by itself, and it had no power. And that turned out to be a number of issues, primarily concerning the ECU that was in the car. Now, they did change that for an ECU out of a North American car. Bear in mind that car is European specification, and it has been working fine. So they did that, they've got that problem solved. They are now working on the rear inboard brakes, which need replacing, and also the crossover valve and the two rear fuel return valves, which is long overdue. We are having a couple of other things done to the car. We are returning the lighting to European spec. That was a German spec car to begin with, and there's a couple of interesting goodies that I'm having done to it as well. Now, that has taken a long time. The problem that they are having, like many places, is parts supply. They've got a couple of cars on their ramps that are essentially holding everything else up right now. Everything else which is requires a fairly lengthy job at least. So I don't know when I'm going to get that car back. I'm hoping that it will be back before the winter. Secondly, the 1989 Volkswagen Golf Cabriolet. Now, that car had developed an issue with the fuel pump. I suspected it was the fuel pump. I did put out a video quite recently about it, and it turned out that it was the fuel pump, the external fuel pump, as I suspected, but there are a few other problems as well. There is a problem with a fuel line that needs replacing, and an accumulator as well. So that is all being replaced, and then it's going to have a number of other long overdue jobs done as well. The one thing that they did find was that both rear springs were actually cracked. So I have replaced them with used rear springs from a Golf. Thirdly, and this is a potential addition to my collection, and that is a 1974 MGB resin bumper model. Technically it's called a 1974 and a half. They are very, very rare in this country because imports of the GT ceased at the end of 1974. It's been in storage for a very long time. It's essentially in barn find condition. They are trying to get the engine turning over, but this is a big uncertainty because it just depends on what is all needed doing to it. If that project goes ahead, it's going to be off site for a very long time. There's a lot of moving pieces, a lot that's involved, particularly financially, with that project. But if it all goes ahead, I would like a British LE recreation in the dark silver, if we go ahead with that, and the front spoiler. That's ideally what I'd like with that car. So let's crack on with what's in here. 2001 BMW 740 on the E38 platform. It's been out a couple of times so far this year. Everything is fine with it. Needs an oil change, that's pretty much about it. It's got a snapped cable to the glove box which needs to be done, and then when I last took it out, the top of the badge flew off. That's like a foil, and I saw it starting to peel off and it just went. So there was no point in trying to find it. It was like a needle in a haystack. I just bought a new OE badge for it instead. So this is going to clip off and then the other one will just plug into place. My 1977 Mercedes 230, the W123 platform. This is going to be completely fixed before the winter. The oil still looks good, so I'm not going to have that done until next year. It's been out 2 or 3 times this year, and it's been running beautifully. The only thing that it needs primarily is these European headlights we have put in. They need to be wired in properly. And it's got a very stiff hood release cable. So we want to make sure that this hood release is able to be opened by people like myself who aren't Jeff Capes. My 1990 Jaguar XJ40 Vanden Plas Majestic, the mouthful that is. This car, since I've had it, I've truly fell in love with. It really is one of my favourite cars to drive in the collection. It's been out a couple of times this year, but not very far. And the reason it's not been out very far is that I believe I've got a stick and brake caliper on the driver's side rear wheel. Took it out last year and it was getting very hot. I haven't really tested it on the times I've been out this year, but I'm sure it's not sort of freed itself. So I'm going to have the rear brakes looked at on the car. In addition, I did manage to get an original CB yellow front fog light on the car. I'm looking for another one. I can get a pair of generic Jaguar XJ fog lights from Boffos because they're missing and they're wired up. It used to have them on the Majestic as standard. My 2002 Mini Cooper. The last thing that we had done to this car was we had the vast majority of the oil leak fixed. We had the new exhaust put on as well. It's got a very slight oil leak, and that is from the gasket around the timing chain housing, so we're going to get that replaced, but it's very small. It's also got a very small power steering leak as well, so we'll get the lines replaced. Other than that, it's running fine. It's been out quite a few times this year, much more than my cars typically go out, I'm ashamed to say, but yeah, it's running great. So I'm looking forward to getting out more of this car while we've got the driving season left. But yeah, that's the Mini. My 1994 Jaguar XJS is really needing for nothing. It's been a couple of years since it's had an oil change and it really doesn't need another one yet. I've not noticed anything untoward with the car at all. It doesn't have the right battery in the car right now, so it could do with its correct size battery being put in. But there's no leaks, nothing of any description. Really, what this car's biggest need is cosmetics. That is going to be a sizable job because it's going to need all of this chrome roof trim needing taken off and the glass taken out. It's going to be a huge job. My 1989 Merkur Scorpio, I'm going to be putting together a video about this in the coming weeks. Apart from needing 4 new tyres, the only thing that it really needs is, it could do with an oil change. I'll probably have that done next year, but because it had hardly been used last year, I did notice the car idling pretty rough earlier this year, and I needed to get it out and give it a good run. So I took it for a run about sort of 70-80 miles or so, and then I put new Shell V-Power in it to fill it up, and it's been started a couple of times since, and the rough idling seems to have gone. So it could do with another good run to get rid of more of that old fuel. So then on to my 1986 Peugeot 505 Turbo. Now, this car is definitely classed as a project. It is running fine. As you know from previous videos, I put out a video about this car some months ago. It has an issue when it's cold because we've got a ground fault in this car. So what happens as soon as the temperature starts getting really cold, there's just not enough charging amps to start the car. It'll either click from the solenoid or it will, the fuel pump will attempt to start the car, but in either case there's just not enough to actually start it. And I mistook this for a series of bad batteries to begin with, and but that's what it is. It as soon as the battery's connected, it falls to about 180 ccas, which is nowhere near to enough to start a car in the winter. I'm going to find that ground fault to start with. It needs new brakes, and I think it needs new brakes all round. We're going to have them done anyway. And finally, I have a set of remanufactured hoses. I did notice a coolant leak last winter. I've noticed a bit more coolant leaking over the summer as well. It's an external leak, so it's just perished rubber. A 1990 Pontiac LeMans LE Aero Coupe. You will know this in Europe as a Vauxhall Astra, as an Opel Kadett E. But anyway, there we go. As my video has explained, there are some significant differences to those cars. We're not going to go into that now. What I am going to go into is what's wrong with the car. As you know, I've had a lot done to this. We've replaced the entirety of the fuel system, the brake system, the ignition system as well. Cosmetically, there's a lot that needs doing to it. I've got this really dilapidated clear coat, I think, that's in places which needs sorting out. Likewise, the interior, door cards need fixing. Trying to find new door cards for this without going the Opel Kadett route, which are very expensive. I think it's going to be expensive anyway, so I'm just going to patch them up as best as I can. But mechanically, it is running fine. It's been out a couple of times this year. I started it up last week and it was absolutely fine. But there is a noise that's still coming from, I think it's coming from the belt pulley. On to the next garage and the next car, my 2003 Jaguar S-Type R. Now, again, this has been quite lucky to go out a couple of times this year. We've got a dry month or so ahead, so there should be plenty more occasions to get this car out again, including this coming weekend actually, when all of this lot is going to go out. So it's been running fine, no issues with it that I can tell. It could do with an oil change at some point in the very near future as well, although to be honest I think that we're just going to leave that till next spring now. There's no real issues with it. The last work that it had done was 4-5 years ago maybe now, when we had the valve cover gaskets replaced. So it doesn't need, it had a new brake booster line as well. So on to my 2013 Fiat Abarth 500. Now, despite the fact that this is only 10 years old, this is the one car out of everything here that I'm really wary of when it comes to not using very much, because this is one car that truly hates to sit. The spark plugs tend to foul up very, very quickly indeed. That can happen within a matter of months, and so I have to keep it running. I've got problems if I leave this car for 3 months without starting. Twice now it has started running very badly and chugging. The first occasion was some years ago now, and I couldn't even get it past like 40 miles an hour. Last year it did the same thing, but while we were out in it, and it started chugging, and I really did think we had some fairly serious problems, but we didn't. In both cases it was just the spark plugs. Now, last year I had those replaced along with the coil packs. I also had the water pump replaced and the timing belt, because you know the car was over 10 years old at that point, and even though it doesn't go out much, age is age, and it still needed to be done. So we had all that work done last year. This year, thankfully, it's been running like a dream. My 2022 Chevrolet Camaro LT1, it needs no introduction, this car. It's brand new, less than 250 miles on it now, from new, over the past 4 years. It's kind of ridiculous. But before it does any more extensive miles, a bit like the Abarth, I want to get it PPF'd properly, because I really do want this paintwork looking as new as possible. And that's not easy, especially with the crap that falls off this roof as well. So it needs to have a cover put on it. But I've not seen any damage as a result of that. A few months ago, it went in for an oil change. It also had some accessories put on that I bought. It had lighted sills, which are rather nice. We also had the grayscale rear lights and high-level brake light put on from an RS car as well, which absolutely transforms the looks of the rear and this car in general. I have some Morimoto LED smoked side marker lights front and rear to go on, and I am also getting the RS lower grille, which is slightly more glossed than the upper grille on this. I can't fit an RS upper grille because the headlights are different on the RS than this car. So at least for now, that's what we're going to do. And that RS lower grille, I'm having the one that's got these red scallops in it because I want to get more red accents on the car. And I'm also going to get a lighted emblem, bow tie emblem as well. Okay, it's a little bit of a squeeze to get me and the Volvo in shot on this corner, so you'll probably see my hand, there it is, waving about here and there. But this is my 1995 Volvo 850 Turbo. This car again has been out several times this year. It's going to go out again this weekend, and touch wood, it's still going to be running great. I did have it started a few weeks ago and it sounded fine. Going to have an oil change done again. I think that's going to wait now until next spring. But the big thing with this car that I need to get done, I've got some new tyres to put on it. Those are actually in the trunk, and going to finally get the problem resolved with the speedometer. Most of the problems that this car had when I bought it have been sorted out. Wiper transmission, headlight wipers, turbo return valve, new PRV system was another one. So we've spent a lot of money on it and it is running great now. So long may it continue. My BMW Mini Cooper R56, just a standard Cooper. I have put out a video about this car and why I bought it, etc. a few months ago, so check it out. We thought, as I said in that video, we thought we had an issue with losing coolant. I had a compression test done on it, but it's fine, so we're not losing coolant. Other than that, the only issue that I've got that's developed since is the rear wiper stopped working, but we've determined that the motor is fine. We've determined that the relay's fine. The problem appears to be the actual arm itself, so we are going to get that replaced. Since then, the heated mirrors have stopped working as well, in true BMW fashion, so I think that's just a fuse. Other than that, it's doing what it promised me it would do, and that's get me to work and back. My 2013 Chrysler Town & Country Touring L. So there's a video about this out there now that I put out last year. Since then, we've had a bit of a change of heart as to really what we're going to use this for. So, and the same with my truck as well. So I think this and my truck may well be disappearing next year. I'm not going to do anything this year, but I do have some things that do need doing to this car. We need to have the transmission flushed to start with. I've also got some new mirrors as well because the one electrochromic mirror has burned out, so I've got a replacement, so they're going to go in. I'm also going to put I've got some new headlights as well, some aftermarket ones, but they look a lot nicer than these, so we're going to put those in too. And we've got a fog light to fix up front. We fixed the air conditioning went out, and it looks like someone had disconnected that at the dealership in Cleveland where all that work was done last year. So that is now working beautifully. It needs a damn good clean essentially, and we need to run it a bit more too because it's not ran much at all over the last 6 months. This is my 2019 Ram DT 1500 Night Edition. I've had this car, I've had this truck ever since new. I did make a video on it just after I started the channel, and so check it out if you've not already seen it. I bought this truck really for two reasons. Firstly, as a photography truck, because I do a fair bit of landscape photography now and again, not so much these days, but it's essentially my grandiose photography accessory. And the other thing is that when we have bad weather in the winter, this is my steed of choice. Other than an oil change this year, everything's fine with it, no issues at all. So I'm hoping that that will stay the case next year. Which brings me finally on to my munificent 1996 Buick Roadmaster estate wagon. Did make a video on this car some months ago. I put it out over the summer, so do check it out. This is the one car that is considered my collection, other than the Mini, that does have to sit outside, unfortunately. But it's under a budge cover. That doesn't stop it from getting filthy, but it does keep the elements off it. A couple of issues that it's got some fairly sort of serious paint problems that need rectifying. There's a big one on the roof there. The bonnet too's got a lot of scratches on. Likewise with the A-pillars, really does need a complete respray. The edges around the faux wood, that's all peeling apart because it's essentially just like a plastic, and so we're going to have that done and probably have that painted actually, which will really smarten it up an awful lot. Other than that, I had some new tyres put on this year, but I've got some slow leaks in two of them, so we need to get those sorted out. But other than that, it's had a lot of work with regards to the fuel system and the air compressor for the air suspension, which has been done in the last few years, and we had new battery put on, new shock absorbers. I think that's about it. And we've gone through the cars as to what is coming, what is going, possibly, and what the issues are with the cars and what is being done to rectify them. I do feel like I'm slowly getting there in making this fleet more roadworthy, and so I can rely on them to go out somewhere. That's always a nice feeling. You know, it takes a long time when you don't have unlimited resources to actually do that. And you know, each of these projects is serious money. I mean, this car alone I've spent upwards of $5,000 on just in various repairs to get it to the point where I can rely on it to take a journey in it. We've not even got to any cosmetics yet, but that's what you're dealing with. Now, in some cases, like this car, I'm likely to get that money back when I sell it, if and when I sell it, I should say. But on some of them, I'm not going to, not a chance. But that's not really the point of why you keep a collection like this. You keep a collection like this to keep these examples on the road, so future generations can enjoy them. So that's it for this update. Thanks ever so much for watching. I'm Darren, and this is Auto Atlantica.